What is up, everybody? It's Odin here on this fine Sunday evening. Thank you for joining me. Whether it's Sunday for you, doesn't matter, but you stopped by, so I thank you. So yeah, if you did, be sure to like, share, subscribe, notification bell, all that kind of stuff. But I noticed I had uploaded quite a few driving and singing videos lately, and they'd been getting decent amount of views, but no likes. And maybe that's just because no one likes it. But if you watch somebody on their channel and you like what they do, throw the like down on the video. It really does help. Costs you nothing. Costs you nothing. It's free. It's as easy as clicking a button on your computer. So anyway, I'm sporting my Avs sweater because it was Game 7 of their playoff series with the Seattle Kraken at home, and they lost. And it was a tied series, winner take all, and they couldn't pull it through. Hats off to the Kraken. I mean, they played their fucking asses off. Their defense was really good the entire series. The Avs just weren't playing like defending Stanley Cup champions. They just fell short, and the Kraken were playing them tough the entire time. The goalie was phenomenal the entire series. Former Avalanche goalie, who, how the tables have turned. He really turned it up for this series. So, anyway, end of a season. Good job, Avs. And with that, I'm going to take the jersey off, or sweater, as it were. If I can get it off here. I'm stuck. Finally. It's kind of how the season ended. I hopes it was going to happen. But anyway, this sweater I got my brother Keith. He's not my actual brother. He's just my best friend. But after they won the Stanley Cup last year, he bought this for me. It's Landeskog. And I was so happy to get it. And then Landeskog was injured the entire year and wasn't even suited up for today's game. Maybe if they had him, they might have won, but or for this series, he wasn't suited up. But nonetheless, my brother Keith bought me that, and I thought that was the coolest thing ever. So, so earlier today, I was working my ass off all day, more raking. It just never ends. I found like an area of my yard where I was like, that's not too bad. And then once I got over there and started raking it, I'm like, fuck, this is just like that other area, and tons more raking. And then went to my local theater where they had Little Shop of Horrors playing, and I checked that out. Was a little bummed that they didn't play the director's cut ending, but other than that was a good time. And then got home just in time to throw on my sweater, watch the Avs game just to watch them lose. And I went, oh shit, yeah, I gotta make my Sunday video. I don't have to, but I do because it's my day to make videos. So, and then anyway, I've been working on this piece here that you can see. This is Hades, King of the Underworld. This is something James and I are working on. This is more a promotional piece because I'm not doing the artwork for the book, the actual story, but I'm going to do a lot of artwork just for fun, for promotion. And as we were writing, I'm like, I want to draw this Hades image. And because the entire story is in the underworld. It's called Kill Them Dead. Kill Them Dead. And This project is going to be something to behold. We're having so much fun writing it. So James and I are writing it. We've got an awesome art team together. Pages are already starting to come. They're very excited for this project. And I'm going to go ahead and link their Twitter, their Instagram, all that shit down below, because phenomenal art group. I've talked about it before, but Dimina or Dimitris, I don't know which he goes by. So I'm going to link his Twitter and his Instagram, but on Twitter he's Dimina, and on Instagram he's Dimitris, or Dimitris, however you pronounce it. But an amazing, talented artist out of Thessalonica, Greece, and he's just killing it with these pages. He's doing all the pencil work, and then all the inks and colors are done by the phenomenally talented Skunk Artworks, which I'm totally excited to have him on board. Skunk is one of the coolest people. I met him a while back when he did this promotional piece for Chef. But a pleasure to work with, and a phenomenal artist, and we're super excited to have him on board. He's all in, part of the Broken Compass Comics team. And so he's doing the inking and coloring on it. And like I said, James and I are writing it, and there's absolute insanity going on in this story, which you should expect nothing less when James and I start writing. So be on the lookout. We're going to start like signups and start building hype, but this is one image. As we're writing, I'm like, I want to draw this, and I hate this though, because it's supposed to look like that, but the angle of my dangle, the angle of my drafting table makes his legs look like little leggies, but that's more what it looks like in proper. But then when I do that, then his legs get all little. But this will be a promotional piece, and when I'm done inking it, I'm gonna give it to Skunk to color and see what he can do with it. So anyway, I'm just going to do some random promotional drawing for it, and then I'll probably do some of the thumbnail just to help the art along, because as I'm writing it, I'm like, oh, it's going to be confusing if I don't kind of explain it with a thumbnail. So I'll probably do some of that too. But yeah, there's things about this project I can't talk about because they're so ambitious that I don't want anyone to steal it, or think that they came up with a clever idea, that we had the clever idea first. So, but anyway, be on the lookout for Kill Them Dead. It's gonna be a wild fucking time. Like I said, the writing sessions with James on this have been like one-up sessions. Like, how fucking crazy can we actually get with this? Let's just take it to another level. And I jokingly, it was funny because we had written about 20 pages, and then James is like, okay, finally, now we can get like really crazy with this. And I was laughing my ass off because it's been insanity all the way through, and I was like, yeah, enough with this character building shit. And that got a little chuckle out of James. So anyway, be on the lookout. We're going to start building some more hype for it and start to sign up and all that kind of shit. But we have some pages coming from Dimitris, and from Skunk Artworks. We're seeing things happening in the art, and it's matching the writing. It's going to be fucking phenomenal. And as much as I would love to draw it, as I write these pages, I'm like, I'm so glad I'm not drawing. Like, I want to because of how wild it is, but I'm like, he sure got his work cut out for him. But everything so far has been lights out, so I expect nothing less. I already know these guys are phenomenal artists. It's going to be fun. So anyway, that's that. What else going on? I got some goodies in the mail. Let's see. If you can't tell, those are, it's hard to tell. These are metal bookmarks from Snuggie Jr.'s Bookmarks for Stickers campaign. And I went in on the metal bookmarks because I thought that was the coolest, and I'm not at all disappointed. These are fucking awesome. Let me see. I'll pull out the Shelby one. This is pretty cool. I'll take it out of the package, but I doubt my lighting will do it justice. But yeah, as we get some more light from the side there, you can kind of see the prisma effect or whatever, but it really doesn't do it justice. These things are awesome. The artwork, I don't know how many I got. 8 of them? Wait, 2, 4, I got 6 of them. The artwork in all of them was awesome. The colors and everything, they got that Prisma look. And they're nice and thick. They're about, I don't know, 3 or 4 millimeters thick or whatever. A 1/16 of an inch, we'll just say that. Yeah, I was very happy with that. And then he did this, which was pretty cool, especially if you're collaborating with a lot of people. Did the QR codes for each of the artists there to link what they're working on or their Twitter or whatever. I thought that was pretty cool. And then some, I think there was actually stickers in it. Yeah, and then some magnets. And I love magnets. Even though they're kind of thin, they're not going to hold up my kids' drawings on the fridge. I just like throwing them on the fridge. That's pretty cool. And then I got this, which was Alterna Comics, King Cryptid, issue 1 through 4, which was a lot of fun. I've only two issues in, and the second issue I really, really liked. It was all black and white, but art-wise, like this opening page. Look at that. That was just beautiful. Yeah, definitely my jam. A lot of heavy black, cool rendering. Loved it. So, they had a different artist for each issue, which was kind of cool. But this was definitely my favorite so far. Because, for one, the black and white, but the artist is really, really good. His rendering is great. His use of black. All that stuff. I'm hoping the story moves along a little more. Like, right now, it seems like he just fights monster of the week, a cryptid of the week kind of thing. And it's like, oh, he's fighting this guy. But I'm like, there's going to be more. I'm sure of it. And then I also got the sketch cover, so I'll probably do something on there. Got Mr. Smetty's signature there. Well, I'll probably draw something cool on there someday. But that, I really enjoy it. And then the whole thing they're doing there with the newsprint and the fucking 80s comic feel. I mean, it hits a tone. It hits that tone that we all love to hear. Any of us who grew up in that time. And so I really did actually enjoy that. Like, you know, it's got the white border. Issue 1 I really enjoyed too, the artwork wise, and the pacing of the story. The dialogue was cool. I like this page a lot, so it was fun, and I'm really excited to read the rest. So yeah, those are the new goodies I got recently. What else? Oh, I know last time I talked about it that I was gonna get to the Twilight Zone Season 4 review, because I only got a few episodes in. Well, I only got a few more episodes in. I'm still got like 10 more. But Season 4, like I said, it's when they went to a hour-long format. And it's just harder for me to digest or consume them in this hour-long format, just like really quick when I need to. So I have to be a little more engaged, a little more time. And so I just haven't got as far. So maybe next week we'll talk about Season 4 of Twilight Zone. What else? Yeah, like I said, I went to the local movie theater and saw Little Shop of Horrors. I drove my truck out there, and I never take my truck out. For one, it's gas prices. Plus, my truck has a ton of miles on it, and I try to keep those down. So I've got a car and I got a truck, but like my car gets good gas mileage, my truck gets shit gas mileage. It's 3/4 ton. It's really fun to drive, and I love when I can take it out. You know, it's got a modest lift and big mud terrain tires on it. The problem is when I drive it around, like pull up next to another truck, it's just like they want to race or something. I don't know what the fuck's going on. There's a machismo thing, but every time that happens, I always see the same fucking stickers in their window. MTFU. Man the fuck up. And then they act like children, but they're like, man the fuck up. Whatever. And they usually have like Trump stickers or something like that, but fair enough, and they usually have bigger rigs, usually diesels, and like, that's fine, man. I actually have a vehicle for a specific purpose. So my truck, I have for truck purposes, and I really don't use it much for other stuff. But today, it was the warmest day we've had all year. And I just felt like taking my truck out, because I got to drive it every once in a while just to keep it fresh, But it's well over 300,000 miles, and it still runs like a fucking champ. But yeah, it was nice to get it out there. But I just noticed, like, every other truck driver, and I notice this all the time anyway, they'll, like, I'm like, do you like being a stereotype? Is it fun to be a stereotype? Is there independent thought rattling around in that brain ever? But yeah, that's kind of about all. I was working on some other Unconditional Shove Volume 2 stuff, but I wanted to draw this image, and I got kind of like sidetracked and really got engrossed in it. Oh yeah, this is I was going to share this. I found this, and no one knows what this is, but this is a blast from the past. I always thought I would draw on the cover, but it's a sketchbook, and I used both sides, and I actually have some drawings in here from some friends. But I'll go through some of this with you so you can see the era. I don't know if you can see that. That's 1997, because I used to sign my name in the 90s. I would sign it with a 9 and then just write the tens digit next to it. But it worked pretty well with my signature, and then once we got to the aughts, it didn't work as well. I didn't like how it looked, so I quit doing it. 1997, which puts me at about 18 years old. So this is a sketchbook from 18, maybe 19, because as time went on. There, my initials in his head. OD. And a lot of this is extremely psychedelic and crazy. That's just where my brain was and my life was at that time. If you can't tell, it says, have good mosh pitting. It's hard to read. Have good mosh pitting. It's Adam Sandler talking goat quote. But yeah, this is a lot of fun. Like, I've experimented with Prismacolor markers back then. Some of these are just like that. It's like, or that. It's just a head. And then I'm like, I don't like it. I'm done. But I didn't draw in pencil. Like, none of my drawings, anyway, other people drew in here. None of my drawings were pencil. They were always in pen. And so I'd get like a little ways in. I'm like, I don't like it. Move on to the next one. But it'd just be kind of like real sketchy. And I mean, I was still figuring out so much, And so, like, some of that anatomy is so fucked up, But, I was learning. That's how you learn. You just draw all the fucking time. I tell people that. Like, if you want to learn how to draw, just do it non-stop. Always. Never stop. But yeah, most of this stuff is really just psychedelic weirdness. Like that. That was a lot of fun. Took a little time with that one. Mushroom. You know, it's where my brain was at. I mean, this one says it all. There's a pot leaf. It says, I just smoke. I just get stoned. That's just the way we are. That's the way we were. There you go. So I did not draw this one. So I was the Jew of the crew. And I had a lot of cool artist friends back then. We were all experimenting with psychedelic things and psychotropic things. And but anyway, I passed my sketchbook. I'm like, you guys draw something in my sketchbook. It'll be cool. And my friend Kevin, he drew this. Kevin was a great artist. He had a lot of talent. He did start doing a lot of tattoo work and stuff at one time. So yeah, that was. He understood certain things that I actually envied. I was like, I kind of like that. So that was pretty cool. This is back to my stuff. This psychedelic, goofy, on tracks, with a big spliff and a knife. That was a lot of fun. Buddy Kent drew this. He was never much of an artist, but he tried. And I like how his little joint guy or whatever has a dong basically with an anarchy sign on it. So yeah, it was a lot of experimentation, and then I would come up with these phrases, almost like song lyrics, because I was writing lyrics a lot at the time too, doing music. A touch of velvet rubbed against my soul. Yes. Yeah, a lot of it just pretty sketchy and just trying to get things figured out. This one I really liked because he's got like a head on his arm. Like he jammed it through a guy's head and it got stuck. But just the monster looks pretty cool. I'm gonna spare you the poem, which probably sucks. Yeah, a lot of experimentation. This one's much newer, 99, so it would have been 20 or 21. But yeah, you can just see where my mind was as a young man. Like something like this, where I'm like, I just get started and I'm like, next. And then I did kind of a flip thing where you flip the book upside down. So I know friends did this one and this one. I'm not sure who did these. I think my brother did that one, and I think my friend Matt did this one here. I can't remember. But again, I was just kind of like passing around, like, anybody wants to draw in my book, you know. Even though most of it was mine. This one was definitely hallucinogen induced drawing. Because I remember, it's weird what I remember from that night, but I remember being really, really fucked up. But I had a pen and it was, the ink was flowing, and I remember like thinking like, I'm not going to control this. I'm just going to, the pen is doing what it wants to do, kind of thing. I remember telling somebody that, like, in some fucking high stupor. But I did like the moon. He kind of turned out cool. Yeah, some of these colors are hideous. That guy's kind of cool. I spilled some shit. You know what happens. Some of these are pretty bad, too. Northern Lights Beyond the Wall of Sleep. 1998, so it was probably 20, I guess. And that one, that's actually a different version, but oh, it's wrong arm. My tattoo is very similar. I did a different version of that, and I brought it to the tattoo artist, but it had my initials in the eyes, and then this tattoo artist chick, she gave him 2 O's instead of OD. And I didn't notice till she was done. I was like, alright. That one's pretty cool. So I'll turn it to the right side. But yeah, at that time, I wasn't taking my time. I was just sketching a lot and just fucking around. And Dark Side of the Nirvana. The right things that you think are semi-profound. I do like that guy. He's pretty cool. He was going to be writing a beast, but I didn't finish. Yeah, and sometimes it was, like I said, I just drew in pen, so it was like, there's no pencil, so if I didn't like it, I'm like, alright, next page. And just stop right there. That one turned out pretty cool. So it kind of looks like he's holding his alien cock or something. Laughing as you eternally rot. But yeah, most of it was very psychedelic. Sometimes cartoony and weird, but that one I remember when I drew that. I was actually way in the mountains, and I brought this along in my backpack, and all I had was this purple pink pen. It was like ballpoint pen, so that took fucking forever because all the coloring in with this purple ballpoint pen and just like leaving space took forever, and it was just pure psychedelic. So anyway, I just thought that was fun to share. But my friend Kevin, who drew that "you fucking Jew" drawing, I remember he said it, and it stuck with me, and I still struggle with it, which is, he's like, dude, your art's really cool, man, but when you actually take your time with stuff, it's fucking amazing, you know. That's what he's kind of telling me, and I'm like, alright, you know, I hate, like I said, I still struggle with it. I hate taking my time. But that's what I'm doing with this piece right here. I'm like, that's why you see the pencils are so rendered, is because, like, I usually don't take my time like this. And I'm like, alright, let's make a really fucking awesome piece. Let's take our time. So I'm taking a bit more time with this. But that said, there's still something to be said for doing sketch work and just drawing frenetically and just having fun. But that's my advice. I tell my kids, I tell anybody who's like, I wish I could draw. I'm like, there's no wishing about it. You just got to do it all the fucking time. You know? Back when other people were doing other stuff, I was sitting there with a notepad just drawing all the time. Back in high school, when you were doing your assignments, I was drawing on the page, you know, and not doing my assignments. But that's the key. It's the key to anything, you know. I know I've watched people start to learn guitar, and if they ever became really good, it was because they never stopped. My brother was like that. My brother still plays guitar very well. But I just remember everywhere he went, he had his guitar with him, and you know, when we were all like, dude, do you ever stop fucking twanging on your guitar, man? Like, put that shit away. But everywhere he went, he always had his guitar. Every time I went and visit him, he's down in his room, like, just strumming out, you know, teaching himself and getting good at it. And there's no shortcuts if you want to be good at anything. If you want to be a master, There's literally no shortcuts. Like you have to pay the price of time. And, we only have so much time in this world, but, so I can get a little better angle of that. So you go, if you have a passion for something, just dive in head first and go for it. So, I don't have much else to talk about. It's getting on 30 minutes here, so. But I will say, because this is important to me, and whether anyone else cares is none of my business. But today is April 30th, 2023. And 1947, on this date, 1947, a man was born into this world who I call Dad, but was, to borrow a phrase from Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, when he's describing Dr. Gonzo, he says, a hideous mutant that was not meant for mass production. That was my dad. Like, words can't express how eccentric he was. Like I say, the most eccentric person I've ever met. That's putting it mildly. So, and I've always wondered if my dad was, not always, but even recently before he passed and since he passed, I've thought about it. If he was on the spectrum a little bit. Because socially, his social skills, he tried really hard. He really did. But he had no care for if somebody didn't like it. He didn't have any kind of self-awareness in that sense. But social things were just a Rubik's Cube he couldn't solve. And then, but everything else, he lived life in equations. And I'm not saying that like hyperbole, like he actually lived in equations. That's how he viewed things. That's how he broke things down in the world. He was a mathematician through and through. And it wasn't the easiest growing up with him as my dad. It was very different. And I'll never forget, because he definitely did see things in equations, but I'll never forget, like, he operated on a level that most people don't. And one of the last times I was visiting Colorado, I was camping. I was camping with a bunch of friends and my dad, which usually it was one or the other. I went camping with my dad a lot. I went camping with friends a lot. Well, because I was visiting Colorado, it was kind of like, hey, we're all going camping. Whoever wants to show, come on out. And my dad was always down. Most of the time camping with friends, he wasn't really invited, we'll say. But anyway, he came out, and we were all hanging out around the campfire. And I had my kids. It was a lot of people. My brother was there with his kids. And I have a friend, Mike. And Mike is he's a very intellectual person. His brain works, I don't want to say similar to my dad, but like, I like how his intellectual brain works. It's problem solving, it's thinking, it's like life's a big riddle and he wants to figure it out. And I like that about him. And I respect Mike so many ways. He's a great friend, and he was there. A bunch of other friends were there. My kids were there, and he made the mistake I'd say the mistake of asking my dad an engineering question. I think he was excited to because he knew my dad. He'd met my dad before, and he knew what my brother and I would say about my dad. And I can't remember the question. I can't remember what it related to. But it was basically like, how would you solve this problem, you know? And a lot of us were having drinks and smoking and whatever, you know, hanging out. And my dad broke it down to him. He's like, well, you would do this, and then, well, you would start here, and it was about an hour, and that's not a joke. It was about an hour of my dad explaining to it, and Mike just kind of like, before Mike had the, I guess, tap out nature where he's like, I don't get what you're saying. And my dad's like, well, it's pretty easy. Like, you just break this down, and then you do this, and it was breaking it down into equations. And Mike goes like, no, seriously, like, I don't know, like, you lost me a long time ago. I don't know. He's like, well, if you start here, and he's like, well, I don't even know where you're starting. And anyway, it was like, it was like somebody operating on a certain level trying to explain to a normal person. And then finally I grabbed my dad. I'm like, Dad, stop. You know, like, because I lived my whole life with this, you know, and I'm like, he's tapped, man. Like, he's tapping out. He doesn't get it. None of us get it except for you. And then even as I'm like telling my dad this, I'm like, stop with the equation. He's going, well, no, it's really simple. Like, you just... It wasn't simple at all. Well, it's one of those things in a certain environment. Maybe if you had a blackboard and you write it out, I don't know. Maybe a little more simple. But there was nothing simple about it. But that was my life growing up. He would pose math questions to us. And it's funny, you'd think I would be better at math. I'm not really that great at math. And I'm not bad at it. I mean, I work in an engineering discipline. I hope no one at work hears me say I'm... Of course, I hope no one at work sees me any of this. They're like, what were you drawing when you were 18, you weirdo? But I remember as a kid, like, one time I had a problem to solve for school. And he tried to show me how to solve it. And I got so lost in the forest and the weeds, and I was like, and he was like, okay. And he had a little whiteboard in front of me. He's like, I gotta go do something. I'll come back and see how you've done with this problem. And I was so lost in the woods, and I was such a smartass that I just started writing random equation shit, like just numbers and all kinds of formulas all over the place, like as if I was figuring something out, and I was being a smartass out of frustration. I'll never forget, he came back and he's like, what's this? And I'm like, I don't know, I was trying to solve it. I got all screwed up. You know, I was playing it off, and he's like, I remember him trying to like follow my train of thought. He's like, how did you get, wait, what? You know, it was just random shit. And I'm like, Dad, no, it's just random. I was just messing around. But I remember he kept trying to like follow my train of thought. He's like, how did you get from here to here? Like, what? I'm like, Dad, I'm just fucking around. Like, I'm frustrated. I was just making shit up. But I remember one time we were at a gas station, and my brother and I wanted Big Slams. Big Slams was the thing. We were like 10, 11, I don't know how old we were. It's 1 liter of soda that Pepsi did. And he saw this deal on 6-packs, and he's like, no, we're going to get the 6-pack. And then like later he was like, here's the price for the 6-pack, and each of these are 20 ounces, and those Big Slam 1 liters are this many ounces. Why was it cheaper to get the 6-pack, you know, and tell me, you know, and he's like, prove your work and all this shit. Like, we're driving down the road, and I have to like solve this equation. I'm like, well, you know, I guess how many liters are in an ounce, or how many ounces in a liter? And that was my life. And then as time went on, I moved to Washington State, and he was in Colorado, and I would call him. And that was his world. That's where he lived. Math and the Bible. Those are 2 things he could talk about forever. unfettered. If you took the leash off and said, "Please just fill my brain with a bunch of random stuff that you're interested in," he would just. So I'd call him from Washington State and be like, I love my dad. I wanted to talk to him, and we'd have these hours and hour long conversations, just many hours of, and I would do that on purpose. Like I would do what Mike did, like pose an engineering question to him on purpose, because I wanted to hear him light up. I wanted to hear him just ramble. Even if I got lost in the weeds, I didn't care. I just wanted to. I mean, there would be times where I'd have a 3-hour conversation where he didn't he didn't once ask how I was doing. He didn't once ask how his grandkids were. It was just, here's his theory on this subject. And if it related to the Bible or if it related to mathematics or both, and sometimes it did, because he was working on a book. And I told him this is an extremely compelling subject. You could actually do well with it. He was marrying the idea of the Big Bang Theory with the Genesis story of creation. And what I know of his theory, like I said, is extremely compelling, whether you agree or disagree. It's if you have a mind to want to break down that subject, it's a very compelling, interesting thing. But it's not something I'm going to do right here. But I heard it many times, and I kept telling him, "Dad, you got to write this." He kept going, "No, I'm going to write this other book first." And he ended up not writing any of them, but he had so many thoughts swirling around his brain, and he was doing studies nonstop. And the only thing outside of math, the Bible, that he got fired up over was fishing and four-wheeling. Like four-wheeling his trucks, like rock crawling. He loved rock crawling his trucks. Or his Jeep back in the day. He had a Rubicon that he loved. A lot of adventures in that Rubicon. But anyway, on his birthday, it seemed tedious at the time. Yeah, like open the floodgates and be like, "Dad, tell me your thoughts again on how the Big Bang and the story in Genesis are congruent," and just give him that unfettered, and then it would be tedious. I'd just listen and nod and yeah, and then give my 2 cents here and there to let him know I was listening along. Not that it mattered. He just wanted to ramble, but like I said, it seemed tedious at the time, but here it is, his birthday, and I'm thinking about him a lot today, and it was like, normally I would call him, wish him a happy birthday, and then just pose one question and let him just ramble. I said, a hideous mutant not meant for mass production. 76 years ago, he was born. I sure do miss him. Anyway, that's about all I got. It's supposed to be getting a shipment from James, Magnificent Bastards, very soon here, where I can fulfill the U.S. side of the American orders. And the Canadian orders should be going out, or should already be on their way. And then I'll get that shipment and start fulfilling all of Magnificent Bastards. And then James is finishing up the lettering on Unconditional Shove Volume 1. But it's like, that's the order of things. And then both him and I are working very hard on Kill Them Dead, which we're very excited about. But anyway, that's about all I can do right now. until next time, thank you if you made it this far. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And Zoden, we'll see you later.